Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for logging in the episode two of Match virtual session. Uh, I know it's today's a Thursday and taking a time off for this session. It means a lot. Uh, Now, let me quickly set the context. As the HR field in itself becoming more and more data driven, as a talent professional, you will be eager to know uh, from the esteemed guest about not only the quick hacks but also quick practices to improve and transform the workspaces. The objective behind our production team is to bring across some ensemble speakers who can come in and add value to your daily routine. Uh, with that, Trice, let me quickly introduce our guest for this episode two, Dr. Amit Das. Before I put him under a spotlight, let me say that I first met him almost 6 years back, and during the last 6 years, um, he has transformed the life of more than 5,000 working professionals. He has transformed more than 500 corporates in terms of improving their workplace productivity. Uh, in terms of his in terms of his background, he has done PhD in training practice. He is not only a life coach, but he's a mentor, an author. He dons so many hats. Uh, Somehow, after cajoling him for almost a month, we somehow convinced him for this. So thanks, Dr. Amit Das, for taking time out from your busy schedule. I also like to say everyone, because most of the audience has kept on asking that please bring some HR professional who have written some books so that they can quickly share not only their experience but also the theoretical understanding of this field, an HR field which is ever evolving. Just to excite all of you, Dr. Amit Das have written more than 20 books in training field itself. Uh, though he has written lots of books, but I personally like a book wherein he talked about toxicity at workplace. But that's for some other session maybe. So just to let cut the excitement now, cut the chase, and I like to welcome Dr. Amit Das for a quick introduction. Dr. Amit, over to you. If you can introduce yourself and just give a brief about you.
Thank you, Saurabh. You did elucidate it so well. What I'd like to say that it's my sheer privilege and honor to be here to address a topic you chose, that building winning team through strategic L&D. Um, Before that, I'd like to talk about my odyssey of last 25 years so that you will have a fair understanding of who the speaker is. That will make more sense to all of my audience. Um, First of all, I'm an educationist at heart, and whatever you said, I'm really great to hear that. But I may not deserve that much, a high level of applause. For anyway, good to connect again with you. So I did my PhD. You are correct. I did my PhD, was followed by my fellowship program in strategic learning. I worked for three great multinational companies for more than 2 decades. Uh, I started my career as a part-time lecturer, then moved to sales and marketing, training and development, learning and development, education management, and currently working for last so many years as a business consultant. And I have a very dedicated team, who are working not only for individuals but also for professionals and corporates to facilitate learning. Okay, so we reach out to the people who are studying in abroad, especially the management student, to facilitate their learning as well, to assist them to complete their, you know, their projects, their assignments, their thesis. So we are doing so much in it, and I do conduct program you know for the corporates as well as for the students. I mentor people. So as I say that I conduct program for the students on what I conduct program students for, conditioning them for the corporate environment, because the campus students, they have their bookish knowledge, right? So I help them to understand there is a little bit ground reality difference, a little bit difference in the ground reality, that what they are learning in the book and what is happening in the corporate, so that they will be more practical in their approach. And suddenly when they enter into the corporate field, they will get a hit. Oh, whatever I have been learned or I have been taught is something different. It should not happen like this. Now, I'd say one thing, sort of, today is the era of information. You believe that. And why I'm saying, because the challenge is that if I look at these opportunities, so we hadn't had that kind of liberty to access the plethora of information what we
True.
do have today. And you know what, so today if I need information, if someone need information, it's coming like a horse pipe. The water comes in a horse pipe to a person who just wants to have a glass of water to quench his thirst. So the
Mm.
challenge is here. One way, yes, it is good, they are giving all the free information which are available. The second part or the flip side on it, I'd say it's very challenging. Sometimes we are tempted to keep everything in our learning, so we don't know what to keep, what not to keep. So because of this, I consciously contemplated for some time during this pandemic, and I pinned down all my thought in a form of a book. So you are correctly mentioned that I authored more than 20 books. Now it is 25 books, including organizational management, which covers learning, L&D, HR management, your talent management, NLP based training, coaching, mentoring. I mean, various fields, so on and so forth. We can talk about this. So now coming back to your point, that what you mentioned, that building winning team through strategic L&D initiatives. So let me prelude certain elements. If I say the winning team, what comes to my mind? I have one thought in my mind. I call it very clearly. It is CTC, right? So CTC is not the
Okay.
cost to the company. CTC, I call it the constant communication, T for trust building, and C for collaboration. So uh,
Okay.
I will discuss later
Sir,
on in details.
what is the first C stand for?
Constant communication. It's a communication. So what you are getting communication from the top line to bottom line, and also bottom line also has to that communicate to the top line their grievances, their achievements, and it will definitely help to form a good strategy. At the same time, trust building is very important for a winning team. Why? Uh, because there has to have some environment, some kind of environment. People are feel free to share their thoughts. There should not be any intimidation. That people will get punishment, or people will get uh, some sort of say that people are not very comfortable. I'm saying that we have to create an environment where people are comfortable. It should be very congenial, that so that people can feel free to share their thoughts. They can collaborate very easily. So the last C, I keep it that they should collaborate. So I'm very very clear that you cannot build a winning team without a clear purpose and directions. Without trust, you won't be able to communicate effectively. They can't take risks or they can collaborate. So you need to embrace diversity as well, create a culture of inclusivity where everyone feels valued and respected. That's very, very important. And you need to create an environment, again, I'm reiterating that, where team members can support each other. The same
Mm.
thing, again, I'm re-establishing that collaboration part. They can communicate effectively. They can collaborate with other, according to their strength. They can contribute. And when your team sees you working hard, you means I'm talking about the top management. When team sees that their team head or the top management working hard, taking risk and being accountable, they will replicate, they will imbibe the same culture, and they will reciprocate in the same way, and that together make a winning team. So my parting thought on this winning team part is that when your team is always learning, they will be a better equipped to handle challenges and stay ahead of the curve.
Mm.
Okay. And the last part is that, since you mentioned that L&D role, so you
Mm.
mentioned L&D role, so I have to talk about is what how L&D or per se HR will add value in this to build a winning team. The first thing, that learning and development can enhance team relationship, that we have to remember, and they also can build leadership abilities in an organization. So understanding each other preferences enable them, and it will make more clarity on their intentions, and so that with the need of that time, they can change their course of action, and they make it more practical for the benefit of the organizations. And team L&D makes it a varied influence on these different approaches, overall learning cultures in the organization. If we get an opportunity to talk on culture in course of time, definitely I'll touch upon few other points which are very, very important and pertinent. Also, L&D has a very good role to create fun in learning and create an environment where people would love to learn. That's very, very important. See, here we are dealing with andragogy, the adult learning. They learn by doing, right? So we cannot give them a go. There is a content available intranet. There is a content available through AI, and go and learn. So they may not learn. So we have to influence them. We have to motivate or inspire them to learn. Okay, so that is the purpose of the L&D. So I don't think L&D now restrict to only monitoring, only learning delivery, only projecting, only ideating that new training content. No, L&D has got a multi-dimensional role today, right from the training need inception or training or learning need inception to delivery, and also post delivery. We have to connect with that learning with the organization growth.
Mm. So true, so true, Dr. Amit. I think you hit nail on the head when you said it need to be an environment wherein people have fun while learning. I think that sum it really well. In fact, that lead me to a very interesting part. In fact, in last few months, a lot of companies are talking about this concept called organizational agility. In fact, a lot of people said, a lot of people working from home, and if you want to make learning a fun for an organization, people are saying it results in agility. What is your view of this subject called agility? And if let's suppose any, and if my audience want to know, what can be a quick hack to achieve that target?
Okay, so agility is what I understand. Agility is that when you uh, realized, when you understand that, okay, there is a barriers, there is a challenge, and there is a opportunity. There is an opportunity. So when you understand, see, I'm talking about in the context of economic downturn. I'm talking about in the context of challenges. So agility is all about recognizing barriers and opportunity and taking action on both. Now, when I'm talking about the organization point of view, how organization or how L&D per se, they will help to build this agility in the organization. They will prepare people. They will prepare their people for these inevitable transitions,
Downturns or downturns?
uh, downturns, and by reskilling, by upskilling, or by managing their expectations. So
Mm.
I'll tell you that what I perceive, what I notice in my L&D stint, while I was spearheading the team, I saw that there are three attributes which can make a big difference in organization. The first attribute is that one thing is inevitable, that you will get stuck, because we are working in a VUCA business landscape. We know market is volatile, so changes has to come. So let us prepare for that. Let us very resilient. That we have to be changed. Otherwise, change will change us for sure.
Mm.
Okay,
Change will change.
so in that case, what I perceive that it is all about the ability to absorb the shock. Not only absorb the shock, how you are regaining control in that environment, and how you are flourishing in that economic downturn. These are the three main attributes which makes the organization very special in the time of economic downturn, or I say economic challenges. I can cut a story
Yes, please.
uh, which I learned from one of the co-founder of that company, which is very interesting. And the story during pandemic time, 2021,
Mm.
some of the people, the group of people, they thought how to raise the fund. And that person, one of the co-founder was very close to me. He said, Amit, how would I do that? Because we need a huge amount. We're going to start our new business. But in this time, in this upheaval time, who is going to support us? and they were clueless, including all of us during pandemic. We hadn't have any idea, clue, we were shuttered that what exactly we're going to do next one. We hadn't have any plan. The same thing with them. Suddenly one of that member, they said, why don't take it as an opportunity? I said, what? Take it as an opportunity means that this is the pandemic time, and in Hindu Sanatani, we do visit Ganga Sagar during Makar Sankranti, 14th of January. It's a very ritual thing, especially if in my audience, if anybody visit this Ganga Sagar, they can understand my context. So they said this time people cannot travel to Ganga Sagar. So let us create a website. Let us reach out through social media to those people who are very much ritual. So we'll talk them. We'll tell them that we'll reach out to them with the Ganga Jal from Ganga Sagar, and they can, those devotees can see the online virtual Aarti
Oh,
evening time. You know how much they raised within 1 year? They raised 55 crores with this idea. Just
wow.
in 1 year, they raised 55 crores. So I know one of that person, and just I had a discussion around 15-20 days ago. He said,
Sir,
we are
sir,
doing well.
it also speaks that we are religious, right, as a country,
Yes,
despite.
now we are
Yeah.
very much religious. If you look at any social media, your Insta and all the posts, I'm very much stunned and surprised that even at the age of 20, they are talking about Bhagavad Gita and all those things. See, I'm not quoting any religion here. I'm saying now people are very much, their intention is very clear. Their intention is very clear. They want to add value in people's life through, through different books like Bhagavad Gita and all. So I really appreciate that people are changing. People are changing. That's very important, because during the time of your upheaval, this kind of spiritualism help you to stay ahead. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's very, very important. And I would say that agility, if you look at the individual benefit on the agility, I would say individual, they got benefits like their relevance in the market, they got career growth. And if you look at organizational point of view, I would say yes, they get the opportunity to strive and thrive. Okay, that's two things are very, very important. So if I put together my thought on this organization agility, I get two areas to reinforce. The first is that organization which will make a difference in their overall approach when they have a higher pace to recover when they get a shock. And the second is that if they have a competitive strategy ready, even if it's not ready, if they're able to make it competitive strategy ready to counter those challenges, they will survive, they will strive, they will thrive. That's very, very important. So in my book also, I have given. I want to disclose. I want to put it in this forum. There are 5 steps model I follow in organization agility, and that is also very much connected with the L&D and HR. The first step I call it that first you have to realize and understand what is happening in the field. I'm talking about the potential threats. I'm talking about the concern. I'm talking about what market wants at that moment. I'm talking about what are the challenges. Everything you have to understand and realize. That is the first step to make your organization very agile. Second step is that you accept. You accept. There has to a need of change and adapt. So now it's time to change yourself. The first is realizing there is a need of change, and second is okay, now I will change. Now I will change. The third thing is that what I feel that initiate, initiate, and experiment. The third step in this agile organization: initiate and experiment. See, there are a lot of organization. They are afraid of experimenting, because they feel, okay, we are at a positions where situation doesn't allow to experiment. Uh, Let it be the way it is going. Let it go with the flow. No, I have a little bit disconnection here. Of course, you can take a calculative risk to come out of the situation. See, you have two options: either you sitting and quietly waiting, for the good time, or you challenge the situation, come out with the new strategy, and counter those challenges, and strive and further thrive. And the fourth part, I say, that is striving and thriving with your best alternatives. How you can make a difference. I'm sure every organizations, they have their key differentiation. Even if they don't have the people of in
Are
their,
the biggest.
in their,
Yeah.
they're the biggest asset. That company, that the organization has to realize that. Organization has to realize that. And the fifth part, I would say, that after this striving and thriving, the fifth part is that transformation. The real transformation is required. Otherwise, people at the bottom line, they will be demotivated. They say, okay, what top line is doing is not reflecting on the bottom line. Example is that I can give an example that during this pandemic period, one of my client who are in a, those group of people are in a business of food delivery. Okay, and they had a good turnover in Kolkata, and near to Kolkata, almost 50 kilometers near to Kolkata. So suddenly they got a hit during pandemic. Okay, they came to me. They say, "Ki sir, now we got a real challenge because there's a complete lockdown. People cannot move. So people don't allow to deliver foods. What to do?" Now this is a challenge for everyone, not only for them. All big businesses, they shut down. They either they follow this work from home on all those things, but for food delivery business, you cannot follow that model. I asked them, why don't you increase your number of people at field? He said it's not possible. We don't have budget. Today we have 200 people. You want me to increase to 500? It's not possible. I say, what is possible to wind up your business? That is the easiest way. Or you really want to put or plunge in some money so that you can recover your loss in next 1 year or 1.5 years. It sounds a little bit challenging for them, but they could manage to recruit more people, because the challenge in during lockdown was people cannot travel 2 kilometers by motorcycle, and two
Mm.
kilometers delivering, walking on foot
Was,
is very difficult.
yeah,
So
very
what
difficult.
they made a small patches with 200-meter to 500-meter, and recruit maximum local people, so that local people, what will happen, delivery would be much easier because acceptance in their locality would be higher, and that turned out very successful. And today they are still continuing with that 500 people. I'm very happy. In fact, I think they have increased the number. See, sometimes we have to look a different perspective. So one way look at, we don't have money, it's a lost game, we cannot, then okay, then leave it. Or if you feel there is a chance, to go ahead, go on the top and lead the way, so that you can further strive and survive. Okay, so
Mm. So
that
basically,
is
what you are saying, yeah.
mm,
So basically, what you are saying that this agility will make you more resilient and handling
yes,
these downtimes, and
yes, yes.
it's must. That's very interesting thought, Dr. Amit. But sir, one quick part. In fact, I have read somewhere that let's suppose if organizational agility is a strategy, right? Let's suppose, but many a time, there is an old saying that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and that
Mm,
leads me to a second question, right? Many a time, what happen
mm,
is
mm,
companies want an agility, but there is no culture there to push the agenda or to
mm,
push this strategy of getting and
mm,
being more agile. What is your
mm,
sense? In fact, if you can tell my audience, how can we
mm,
drive a culture where people want to learn instead of just
mm,
focusing on their survival or growing need? They want to
mm,
learn. So, can you
mm.
just highlight some quick? What's your view on it?
All right. Have you ever heard the story that you are the smartest person in the room? That means that, suppose you are in a room with a 10 people, and you find that all 10 people are similar like you. You know, you have the similar kind of knowledge, similar kind of skill sets, like all 10 people. My question: do you have any scope to go further in terms of growing and getting more knowledge out of those people? The answer is no.
No,
So if you change, can you change the room? I said no, you cannot change the
no.
room. You have to live with those people. So why
Hmm.
don't you increase this the size of the people. Why don't you increase the size of people in terms of uh, maybe you can get a new people who have better understanding on the subject. You can have a more people who have understanding the newer concept of the market. I'm saying, because tomorrow you will ask, sir, we have multi generations. Currently, we are dealing with multi generations, right from the traditionalists to baby boomer to Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Alpha, or
Yeah,
Gen Z.
all
You have
working together.
all five generation today. So the culture here is a very critical components in the organizations, because now we have to look at all five generations. We have to if we look at the learning culture as well, we have to create in such a way so that it fits to all. It fits to all. That means it implies what? So what you are reached, so when you reach a point where there is not much more to learn, and you have to learn, there is no other way to go ahead. So it's better, you have two options for leave with. First is, either you change with the number of people you have in the room, get new people with a new idea, or or you have to change in the entire process, the way you are thinking. That means I'm talking about to change your approach, this learning culture. And see, I'll say, when I hear about learning culture, the only first thing comes to my mind, learning is the oven in the organizational fabric. Learning is the
Sir,
oven in the organizational fabric.
sir,
Okay.
I didn't get this. I didn't. Can you repeat this? Because this is for my audience.
Okay.
Can you repeat this part? Learning is?
I'll sure. Learning is the oven in the organizational fabrics. That means, if you really want to build an organization and to build a culture in the organization, so learning has to be the center part. And that is where I feel that L&D has got a multi-dimensional role. And that is why I said in the very beginning of my conversation that it's not restricted to only delivery or controlling or monitoring. At every part, L&D has to be at the center with the help of HR and IT to build that culture. Okay, so I'll tell you one story during my stint of a L&D, spearheading. One person approached me. I still remember his name, Mahesh. He said, "Sir, thank you very much." I said, "Why are you saying?" Because you just joined the company. This is the first PMS we have done after 1 year. They say, "No, thanks for you. You are not." I was aware that why he was thanking me, but I was pretending that I was not aware. So I said, "What was the reason?" Because the one thing was very good. I saw that he was very happy. He was ecstatic. He was, very excited. He said, "Sir, last 8 years I worked for the company. My past MNC, I didn't get any promotion. And in this company, within 1 year, I don't know what magic happened. I got the promotion. Now I became a manager." I said, "No, then go and distribute your visiting card, naming that you are a manager now. You should be happy." "Yes, I'm happy, but I have come to thank you." I said, "Thank you for what?" "The thank you is that, sir, you remember you conducted a MDP, Management Development Program." He said, "Yes, I did last year." And CEO was there. Yes, he was there. That helped me a lot. That helped me a lot.
Oh,
I said, why do you
wow.
think that helped you a lot? In the past company where you worked for 8 years, you hadn't have
And
any program.
especially,
No.
and especially that was an MNC, right? That was an MNC.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I said, the past company you worked for 8 years, they also must have done some good things. Yes, they have done, but that could not reach to me. That's a problem. They have done many things, but that could not reach to me. So I understood that what he was talking about. But
Wow.
however, what happened? That person became a spokesperson for the entire organization. He went to visit multiple people and talking about the MDP, how MDP helped him. And he was advising people, "Why don't you join MDP?" So that makes L&D job very easy. If you create one or two spokesperson by creating learning culture in the organizations, that makes your job very easy. Okay, so I tell you one more examples. See, what I feel personally, that many a time it happened that L&D people, uh, they're undervalued. I'm literally saying very bluntly this word. L&D
When
people undervalued.
you are saying it
Uh,
on record, there might be some L&D professional here, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. For L&D people, in the interest of the L&D people, I say L&D people are undervalued. But no hard feeling. I'm saying this is the way you have to deal with it. Uh, let it be undervalued. I mean, you do what you are supposed to do. You contribute in people's life. These people will come back like moist and say thank you very much. He didn't say thank you to his boss. He came to me with the letter he has got. I said, this is the letter I have got. I thank you. That is a bigger certificate. that is that is the ROI. If you people say, now how do you measure this ROI? I said, this is the ROI. You can build a case study and talk it to the top management. This is the ROI I have generated. you know uh, See, learning, one thing I'd say, it's very difficult sometimes to convince people. I had that experience, because top management, sometimes they're not ready. Some people, they also count learning as a stepney. I'm saying this word I heard from a top management person in sales. They say learning is a stepney. And then we had a long discussion, and after that he was convinced. And he convinced in such a way, for the entire year he helped me to reach out to all salespeople. Prior to that, he had an impression is a learning is a wastage of time. Even if you give a half a day time, that reduce my productivity of the team and all. But you have to convince people. Understand their perspective also. They count time as a money, because they count half a day means four more customer calls. They count half a day means generating prescriptions, generating orders, everything. So L&D, now you have to convince them that how to sharpen the X. It's not doing the same thing again and again. So that is the tricky part L&D has to do. If you can't do that, that is a failure of the L&D. I mean, you cannot blame, no, this is not the right organizations I'm working with. No, that's the wrong thing. I'm telling you with my experience on record, that the organization which today are slow in their, they are evolving very slow. I'm saying that is the biggest opportunity for the L&D people to create history. And fortunately, I got a couple of organizations where that part was a little bit slow, but people appreciate it. Okay, we never had this. See, I'm telling you, the biggest ROI in the L&D, when you get immediate reaction. That is why sometimes we call Kirkpatrick. L&D people can connect better. That the reaction is the first thing in measuring efficacy of the L&D. They say how
Wow.
people react. People say, oh, we never had this program. Now we got this program. Now, the second part I would cover in this culture,
Mm.
if we look at the recent data, I'm very surprised that almost 55% of the company, I'm talking about 2023 data. I'm not quoting that survey report, but it's a data which I assimilate, and I got this inference that 55% of the company who give less than 10 hours of training time or learning time, maybe 0 to 10 hours, they are actually degrowing. It's a very shocking. And 66% companies, those who are giving more than 10 hours up to 30 hours, they are actually outgrowing. So
Wow. Amazing.
people who are saying, sir, I don't know how to measure ROI, please, the second concept, the second tricks I have given you, that go and show this data. Sir, the people who are not giving enough time for learning, so they are actually degrowing. So okay, let me give an analogy very clearly.
Yes,
suppose
please.
a person suppose a person working for say 250 days in a year, after deducting all holidays and weekends. So what is the 1% of 250 days? 2.5 days.
Yeah.
And 2.5 days, if I convert in the man hour of learning, it is approximately 30 to 32 hours.
Right.
My question to all the top management people and the L&D person, can't we afford to have 1% of their life, of their working life, for learning? If we can't, then we are the wrong group. I'm saying we're in the wrong group. 1%, that 30 hours, if you can plan rightly, meticulously for their development, that makes a lot of sense in their career. And I'm saying today people are very smart. We are talking about learning culture. We are talking about organizational culture. People are very smart. They can go through Glassdoor, Ambition Box. There are a lot of hundreds of websites available which talks about employers' background. Okay, and people will come. they say on your face, okay, I'm leaving because you are not giving enough time, enough impetus for this learning. So, and I'm sure now, have you heard this word, sort of this quiet quitting? Very recently it has come out, quiet quitting, the concept where it's saying that people are now they don't want to work beyond their working time because they are psychologically, emotionally disconnected with their environment. They say, okay, this is my working time, this is my JD, job description. I will work whatever you mentioned in that JD. I'm not going to work beyond that because they're not giving enough time, enough, resources spending for my own development. And everything come fall flat on the face of the organizations because virtually, I would say, they may not able to create that that essence of delivery, learning delivery. Not only learning delivery, I mean engaging that people. Learning is a one way, engaging people, and creating that culture in the organization of continuous learning. So I would say creating learning culture is not a one time event. It's not even event I count, because it's not an event based system. It is all about effort. It's not an aspiration. You aspire, okay, I will deliver this year 1 lakh man hours time, and you delivered also 1 lakh man hours time. The question is that when you deliver, does it make any difference overall bottom line performance? If not, again it will come back. It will come back to you in a form of that question that your learning team is ineffective. So
Mm.
so people will be grounded. People will be grounded. You will not get adequate budget. Then things remain very, very, very shaky. So my suggestion, my advice, when you are dealing with learning, when we are dealing to some extent HR also, because many of the organizations, they are not much evolved in terms of having a learning and development team separately. The HR manage the entire thing. So my condolence to those HR people, those who are doing everything right from the talent management, hiring, onboarding, exit interview, everything. For them as well, that you have to be very, very clear before spending a single penny for learning and development. So my favorite line I'd like to share here, that you know what you see behind, what we see in front of you, it's very tiny things. It's very, very important what is inside you, not the front, not the back. It is inside you. So do something. I'm talking about the L&D people or HR. Do something to contribute inside, not on the surface level.
Yeah.
Getting things to the inside so that even people leave you, they will advise others, boss, I had a great time in that company where L&D did this for me. And you
Mm.
never know, tomorrow these people again will come back in a form of a new role. Maybe they will come back on a manager. And it happened, very funny things. It happened that one of my colleague, he left the company after 6 years. He came back. He became a manager of one of my colleague. And the manager then said, see, this is a tragedy. I said, no, it's not a tragedy, it's a karma. So whatever you did in past, you never realize this person will come back as your manager. Now you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Agree. Sir, I think, but I think, though I know, you have already answered my other quick question that we received, right? The ROI. Now I don't have a courage to ask you the ROI part because you have beautifully answered that. But one thing that I want to ask, because I think you have beautifully spoke about culture. You also spoke that how an ROI can work out for these initiatives. But let's suppose if there's a small startup out there or a small company out there, and the founder is not giving L&D budget to a new L&D professional, right? But this professional is of view that that learning is very important and the culture need to be adding element within the people, right, rather than on the surface. So what they should do, how do they add or create a learning environment despite having low on L&D budget? uh, and I know, as I'm talking, I've raised 7 hands at my because I got 7 hands here. So I know, this is a misery, right? But still, if you can answer this, how should we make sure that this culture or a strategy of agility can come in despite being low on learning or L&D budgets, if I can say.
Okay, okay. So I'll tell you, there are a lot of free tools available. So over the years, we have been using a tool, Kickpatrick. That's the most lovable
Which, sir?
tool I use.
Can you repeat that, sir?
Kickpatricks.
Okay.
Kickpatricks. I think LD people
Okay.
can connect better. HR people also know Kickpatricks. Uh, he talked about four levels, measurement. The first start with a reaction, which I mentioned in my
Yes.
last
Initial.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then after reaction, then we look at the learning part, that how much have they learned, and then we look at the behavioral changes, and fourth part we look at the result. But I have added from my end, uh, to dare to add, I don't know how people will take it, I added that influence level. you know uh, Fifth part I want to add influence. See, you measure result of the bottom line and the top line, but can the same person influence another person to
Hmm.
repeat, or to reciprocate the similar way? The people say, okay, he learned, that's why he performed good, let me learn as well, so I will perform good, I'll earn more money as an incentive. So that
Hmm.
influence can you create with your learning. That makes more sense. And that is what I'm saying, that Mahesh example, if you can create, that gives organizations to understand, okay, because of this learning, people contribute better for the organizational growth. So that is why I call it very important influence. I call it that how you are, connecting with the people and make them understand that how learning is important. That fifth part. Okay, now coming back to your zero budget, I'm saying zero budget is what? That means, I'm very, very blunt in this. If you want to keep zero budget for L&D, that means you're not serious for your business. I'm very clear.
Hmm. Right.
There cannot be a zero budget. Acha, can you promote your product? Can you sell your product without spending a single penny for advertisement or brand promotion, or do some activity for customer contentment? You cannot. Then why you are keeping a zero budget for L&D? Okay, to some extent, as you mentioned, it is a startup company. They may not have a budget. They have a challenge in their budget. I would say there are a lot of tools. The first tools I'd like to use, as I mentioned in the very beginning, now we are dealing with five generations together.
Yes.
Okay, right from the traditionalists to your baby boomers, Gen X, Y, Z. Why don't you use those, your internal human capital? I'm saying what I perceive, that traditionalists is very good at sharing their experiences. They have experience of maybe 40 years. That 40 years experience cannot be replaced by any book, I'm telling you. That cannot be replaced. Why don't you invite them? Come, sir, because mostly traditionalists today, they are working as either promoter or BOD, board of director, they're representing. So they're not directly connected to the system, but yes, they are very, very important. So if you give them some time, and if you can inspire them, sir, please come and tell for half an hour your experience, these are the challenges, and that will make more sense. Now coming to the next part, your baby boomer, yes, they are still in the system. They are very good at sharing their thoughts and mentoring people. They are very good. you know you can involve them, because one way they don't prefer working from home concept. But I interviewed a couple of people. They say, yeah, these are all bad things you people are telling to working from home. Unless you have that emotional connections at the workplace, you cannot contribute. Then we had a lot of discussions and say,
So
okay,
true.
this is a generation gap. I accept. I say, no, sir, it's not a generation gap, it's a need of the hour. Look at the pandemic period, what exactly happened. So we hadn't have any choice. That's why we chose this work from home. So those baby boomers could be a very good coach, very good mentor for your people. So you don't need any budget for that. You go and talk to them, motivate them, inspire them, develop content with the help of your IT, HR, or L&D people, and then deliver. Now, Generation Y, I find Generation Y, they are very good at on-the-job training. They are very good at on-the-job training because they are the hard worker. They started working since 1990, 95. Those were the era we hadn't have any internet that time. So they work very hard. They know ground reality very well. So you have to blend. I call it blended learning. I'm sure you heard this term,
Yeah.
blended learning. So you have to
Yes.
blend it in such a way so that it fits to all. It fits to all. And that Gen Y people, they are very good also, delivering their learning. They're very good, because nowadays is the era of AI and ML. So people want that is a it's not a dumb. It makes a lot of sense that AI ML helping HR and L&D, but at the same time, that time we hadn't have. So I also fall in the category of Gen Y, and I know how much hard work I put in the field. So they are very good. They are very good at delivering speech. They are very good at delivering, and connecting people. So people want real life experience. They walk in the field. um, then you get Gen X. Now Gen X and Gen Y, sorry, Gen X, Gen X, they are the group of people who started with technological, I think, induction. When they started their career, they
Yeah.
got technology, they got mobile, they got internet, they got intranet, everything they got Facebook, Instagram, everything. And yes, of course, the Gen Alpha or Gen Z, we have got the latest one, who are very, very entrepreneur in their mindset. They are very fast. They love gamification. They love mobile learning. Their attention span is too low. Again, I'm not insulting those people. With high respect to them, Gen Z. There's a little bit difference in the approach, I'm saying. So all are good. We need, if we really want to grow as an organization, we need all five types of people in our system. And
Yes.
Gen Z, they are very, very enthusiastic. They have a tremendous, passion for working. Only thing is that because of this cutting job, because of this downsizing, because of this in the lot of incremental issue and retrenching and layoff, uh, a lot of issue of this quiet quitting, this term which I use nowadays. People are leaving very, and their self life in the organization is just reduced from 2.5 years to 1.5 year, or sometimes 1 year. That's a big concern for the HR and L&D, because sort of you'd agree that, if we look at the overall attrition ratio, the onboard attrition ratio, which has increased tremendously, and which will add a lot of pressure on the HR point of view in both the end. One way you have to onboard on time, and another, you have to refilling. So you are refilling and they are leaving. So it's a double pressure for them.
Yeah.
I would say in the zero budget, again, you have to look at
No,
your high.
no, no. Yeah, you are saying there cannot be zero budget. You have to have some budget.
Have to have some budget. Even that these people who are giving time, that is also part of the budget. They are giving time, and that time is a time of organization's time, right? So they are paid for that time. So there is a budget. Now you have intranet in your system. In the organizations, you can upload a lot of data to internet. There are a lot of companies, you can outsource them. You can get a lot of content, and then you can scaling up, scaling down according to your choice. Now it's all depend, all ascribed to, when I'm talking to this content and everything, it's ascribed to the what is the aspiration of the organization. Are they really
Mm.
serious about the L&D? Are they really want to grow? What business they are in? What kind of people they are having? Okay, that's very, very important. I'll tell you my example. Just recently had a discussion with a business owner, and it's a very shocking. He said, I don't need any L&D. He had a team of around 50 people. He said, I don't need any L&D. I said, why, sir? No, I'll hire most intelligent people from the market, and they will do whatever is supposed to do. I said, okay. And what will you do when they leave this company? Do you have any idea how to keep those high potential, I call it high potential hippo people in your company, those top intelligent people, as you said? No, why would they leave? Because I'll give the best package. Do you think the package is everything for them? No,
Yeah.
that is what I think. I said, no, no, the things has changed. Gone are those days where people are working only for money. No, now people need more work-life balance. This is the mantra for the new L&D people who are
Mm.
aspiring. I'm saying make something to balance these people's life. How you give lot of pressures on learning, lot of thrust on learning, on learning, at the same time look at what is their state of mind. That mental readiness is very, very important. So zero budget means, okay, if you don't have a budget at a startup company, I'd say intranet, you can outsource. A lot of information is available on net. You can use free AI tools to develop content. Again, it's a very funny thing. I just had a discussion yesterday on the AI. People say, hey, don't talk any rubbish things about AI. I said, no, I'm not saying any rubbish. I'm saying AI is helpful, but just think, who developed content for AI? Just give me the answer.
Humans,
AI
humans.
doesn't. Human gives the content. So today, whatever content you have a content of 2022. What about 2023 content? No, we have to wait for Chat GPT version 4, version 5, version 6. I mean, that means, okay, that you agreed that AI doesn't have anything by its own. It's a human who is actually adding value to AI. Yes, of course. Having said that, AI has got its own age as far as HR technology is concerned. I'm saying IT, especially in the company, they have a huge role to play in terms of developing a lot of low budget tools for the learning within the organizations. You can use that. You can use on the job training. You can involve a lot of Gen Y people for on the job training. Maybe once in a month, twice in a month, he can work in a field, because I did a lot of on the job training with my people when I was spearheading. People was surprised. I'm telling you, I'm not bragging. This is a fact that I work almost 100 days in a year on the job training. I spend time. I travel across the country, each and every district I
Wow,
work, because
wow.
whatever I'm delivering inside the room, that's all are at a surface level. What is happening at the deeper level, unless you go to the field, how will you understand the people
How
is
will you
telling
understand?
the truth?
The
So
transmission of learning, right? I completely agree.
yes, yes, yes. How they are reciprocating in these customers' place after taking your session, that's very important. So one way you can say, no, I'm spearheading, so my people will, that attitude develop. No, my people will go, they will share everything, then I will analyze. No, it doesn't happen.
I think there
I mean,
need to be
you have,
change in a mindset.
yes, you have to go to the field, you understand the pulse, what is happening, customers, good
Sir,
things, bad
actually,
things.
I completely agree. Sir, I would love to keep it flowing, but sir, I know there is a paucity of time. I have quick two questions because I
Yeah.
think I got a lot of questions. So one question came from Magma, one question from
Mm,
Magma HDI, again a
mm.
Calcutta-based company. They said you talked about Gen Z. How do I know, sir, this question is not related to your session, but this is a question they thought they asked you. How do we get Gen Z to come to operate from the office?
Mm.
What is the answer for that, sir? How do we tell people to come to office rather than work from home? Question from Magma, sir.
See, I'll tell you, uh, I cannot give you any bookish answer. It's a very practical question, and I really appreciate. That's a brilliant question that person asked. What is the name of the person?
Sir, Praveen Rudra.
Oh, Praveen, Mr. Praveen,
Yeah.
thank you very much for raising this kind of question. I
Yeah.
really appreciate. See, I tell you, Gen Z. First, you have to be very, very cautious on this Gen Z part. One area, that Gen Z part, I'd say, working from home. One way they would appreciate, they'll be very happy. Another way, there is a difficult in connection. Connection. You need to do lot of you need to do lot of you need to do lot of you know follow up with them. Now the question, you said, how would I bring them back to the office? The answer is that you have to involve people Gen Y for mentorship. You have to make
Mm.
them understand this Gen Y in the office. Those who are working, they put 20-25 years, they contributed. uh, I think those are the areas you can work on. Second thing, there are a lot of things which you cannot do, which you can make them understand that you cannot do from home. Especially when it comes to on the job training, you can involve them. When it comes to doing some hands on kind of thing, you cannot do from home. Then third thing, there are a lot of activities. It's very difficult to say all those activities because it will be different from industry to industry. There are different activities which you need to do only in the office. Better you can help me to understand what are the activities your company does in the office which cannot be replaced with the work from home. So those activities, you identify those 2 or 3 areas and convince them with the help of Jane Boy that these are the activities we can do only in the office, and set a norm. See, set a norm. These people, one way they are very, very enthusiastic, another way these people are mm, want some norms, very, very fixed rules for them. If this is the okay, even if they want work from home, I don't know whether you want to balance all 5 days at working place on site, or maybe 20%, 80% ratio, that you can depend. See, immediately you cannot change, I'm telling you. If you want to change overnight, it's not possible, because now they are habituated to have that work from home benefits. So slowly, that is what I'm saying now, the change
And you
you have
rightly
to.
said, I think people
uh,
are looking for work-life balance. They're not looking for, yeah. Sir, one more
yes.
question coming from it. I know I have a very
Mm,
less amount of time.
mm,
This is a very
mm.
interesting question by Gaurav Gandhi that, how should we, can you share your thought on how to overcome the challenge of making people to unlearn? Sir, I know it can be a philosophical answer to this, but I know whatever comes to your mind. I know I can line up an entire session on this, but quick one.
That's a very intelligent question, I would say, Mr. Rajiv, right?
Gaurav Gandhi.
Mr. Gaurav. Yeah. Thanks for this question. See, I would say, when you look at the unlearn part now, first you have to look at where the person is lying in his learning curve. So you know the learning curve, which starts from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and the mastery. Those 5 levels you have to check. See, unlearn of what? There may be 1,000 things the person has to learn. Maybe 1,000 on the higher side. I say less 5 things he has to learn. All five things he may not be on the same learning curve. Okay, otherwise he should not be in the system. Okay, there are certain hard skill he must be very good. Maybe he has a mastery. There are certain soft skills you feel that he needs some development. So first identify where he is very good. So first talk about the positive thing to the person. You are very good at this particular skill set. uh, but remember, to grow further you need to develop those areas. And why this unlearn word comes, people comes join company with a lot of baggages, what I understood and I perceived, that they had their past experience. They say Ki, these are the things which I learned so that I don't need to learn further. So make them realize what you learned and ask them a valid question. Does it work today? Do you think you can use those learnings in this today's context? If yes, then deliver result. If not, if you can't deliver result, I'm here to help you. Then it's better to unlearn and learn new things. And after learning new things, then you are the smart enough, you are an adult, you can validate that whatever you have learned, whether this learning actually outweighing your unlearning part. Am I communicating? Whatever you have learned, is that outweighing your unlearned part? If you feel yes, then go ahead and learn. And as Mr. Gaurav said, it's a very much required that to learn, it's very important to unlearn first.
Yeah. Sir, I think I have lots of questions coming. In fact, I think I don't want to, I cannot take because of paucity of time. But sir, one thing, thanks for sparing a lot of thought, telling us about agility. Also, how to bring the culture of learning. Third is, emphasizing that, please don't keep no budget for L&D. That is what it requires. You also said, how the learning can be transmitted. You need to do. You have also given a lot of examples of businesses which become resilient after having a very learning driven culture. But I still have lots of questions and everything. But having said that, thanks for being part of this. All the questions which are left unanswered, we can share you separately, sir. And a lot of people will reach out to you. We'll be sharing your profile and And for my audience, I like to say, we'll be also sharing heaps of the findings and also the learning part. The books that Dr. Amit has written, we will mail you separately. You can also reach out to Dr. Amit, because a lot of questions are still unfinished. But thanks for all of you to join this session. Thanks, Dr. Amit, for being part of this. Any parting remarks, sir? Though I'm running late, but
See,
still, any parting remark?
okay, I quickly finish. Thank you. Thank you very much to you as well, and thank you to my audience for their patience to listen to me and to you. What I feel that I could able to answer all your questions and all the audience question. Yes, there was a positive of time, so we are tempted to touch upon all the points, but it's not possible with a fixed time frame. But yes, I can be reach out to through LinkedIn, either through Instagram, YouTube channel, wherever you find an opportunity, connect me. I would love to connect with people. Um, that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone. Thank you, sir. Thanks to the wonderful audience out there. And we will soon share the coordinate of sir as well and share all the best practices across. Thanks for being and thanks for making this session worthwhile. Thanks all of you. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.